political cliche, but we've got to become the change that we want to see.
Well,
and
the change
I don't
has
see
to
a lot
start.
of that.
I'll tell you where the change needs to start. It needs to start at the dinner table.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the change needs to start with parents explaining to their kids, all right, today we go vote. This is how your father and I, or your mother and I, are going to vote, and this is why.
Mm-hmm.
It starts when you're sitting in front of the television set with your family. Number one, it would be best if everybody as a family, if you're going to watch television, that you watch the television as a family. Because otherwise, how are your kids going to know how to interpret these political ads?
Yeah, see, the traditional model for, mainstream America, the family unit, it's been completely demolished over the past couple of decades. Completely demolished.
Well, you're right.
Mainly because, there's no such thing as, well, I can't say there's no such thing. There's a lot of families where, like one person's at home. These days it's because they can't find work.
Mm-hmm.
But when jobs are available, it takes both parents working to provide a decent life, for a kid. They're growing up being babysat by their PlayStation controllers and their smartphones. And there's no open communication there in the family home. I mean,
if more families would collect all the cell phones at 6 p.m., put everybody's cell phones into a box and lock, those gun safes that are advertised now on Glenn Beck's show, the kind you can run over with a truck?
Yeah.
If mom or dad would collect those cell phones and put them in one of those little gun safes and lock them up and say, no, we're going to actually talk to each other. We're going to sit down in front of this television. We're going to watch a nice television show. We're going to talk about it. We're going to have some family time. That's one place where things in this country need to start. The other place, and it should be the starting point as well, is in our churches.
Yeah.
There was a time in this country when the churches drove the culture. The country did better. And we need to start that tradition back again. Our pastors need to be talking to their congregation about what happens outside the walls of the churches and how it affects their Christian life.
I was going to say, it's funny you should bring that up. The Freedom from Religion Foundation and the some kind of separation of church and state organization has been sending around reminder letters to different churches, reminding them that they're not allowed by law to back any particular candidate. They're in the pulpit, and they're not allowed to engage in political campaigning from the pulpits if they want to keep their tax-exempt status. And that's, hey, you know what? I'm cool with that. I'm so cool with that. What I'm not cool with is these two organizations trying to make it seem like a church can't engage in any kind of political discussion.
Are they taking those to mosques?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because again, we've shown them to be the cowards that they are. They're only doing this to the Christian churches.
Figures.
They're not sending this out to any local covens or any pagan watering holes or anything like that. It's nothing going to the Buddhist temples or any of the Sikhs. Only to like Baptists, Methodists, Catholics, Presbyterians, Lutherans, Episcopalians, things like that. Only to those places. Because after all, We can't have Christian values in our politics anymore. But if the church would engage more in, well, okay, you don't have to call it political speech. Let's just call it something else. Democrats do it all the time. We'll call it getting more involved in culture, the nation's culture.
How about civic life?
Or civic life. Exactly. You know, what better place to learn citizenship, good citizenship, than at your church? And, you know, there are those that are cringing right now, you know, saying that church has no business in popular culture. But see, that's where us nutty Christian conservatives would beg to differ there.
Well, you know, I think pastors could preach straight out of some of the works of the Apostle Paul, who was a very civic-minded individual and put out a lot of great advice for how Christians should conduct themselves when they're going about their affairs in the world.
Yeah.
About having honesty and integrity,
and work ethic,
having a strong work ethic, paying fair wages to employees. You know, all this kind of stuff that is actually everything that you would really want. When you think of the term good citizen, Paul told all those early first century Christians that's what they should be. They should be good citizens. They should always speak respectfully to those in positions of authority, whether they agree with them or not, like them or not, even whether they're right or they're wrong. Paul even spoke respectfully when he was being smacked in the mouth by a high priest. And the high priest was wrong for doing it, but Paul even spoke respectfully to that man.
Well, Paul reminded us that all authority, all earthly authority, is granted by God. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
And that for that reason, we should be respectful and be good citizens wherever you are.
Well,
and so that's not a bad thing.
There is a good place to start. All right. A good place to start in your quest for good citizenship. We talk about this every week. Every week we go over the same ground. And this is where you start on your path to good citizenship. 2 Chronicles 7:14. Really simple. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, then I'll hear from heaven.
Turn from their wicked ways.
Turn from their wicked ways. Then I will hear from heaven, and I will heal. I will forgive their sins, and I will heal their land. One of the first things we've got to do as citizens in this country is humble ourselves.
Yep.
Pray every day for one another and for the people that we give permission to act on our behalf. I think this country forgets that part a lot of times when we go into the voting booth. It's like fire and forget. We elect them. They know more about their job than I do. Let them just go be a representative. I can't do that. I really can't. If I'm going to send somebody all the way to the Beltway to speak for me, then I want to be really sure that they're saying what I would say.
I pray for them every day. Now, this is one of those where nobody has asked, no government agency has asked me for the contents of my prayers.
Yet.
But I'm going to share them with y'all. I pray for all of our ungodly leaders that are in Washington. I ask for God to bless them and to be merciful with them, because Jesus Christ was very merciful to me. Okay,
Yep.
I don't deserve that grace that I've been given. Okay, It was a free gift. Something that I did not, there's nothing that I ever have done or ever can do to deserve it. But it was given to me, and I look at it as if I'm not really any better than Nancy Pelosi or Harry Reid. I'm not any better than Barney Franks when it comes to that sort of thing. I'm not any more deserving of the grace of God than anybody else. So God has been merciful to me. God has blessed me. So I ask that He also will bless those people, be merciful to them when they fall short.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I pray for those of our leaders like Louis Gohmert, Ted Cruz, that I know were brought up the right way.
Right.
They, that are good Christian men. I pray that the Holy Spirit will continue to work through those people so that when our leaders that don't like us and that are enemies of the church, that every time they look at our representatives who do attend church, who are good Christian folks, that every time they look at them, they see Christ.
Well,
because there's another one of my favorite verses where it's when Jesus is talking to His disciples. It's actually recorded in more than one spot in the Gospels, where He says, "If I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me." And I pray every single day for my Christian brothers and sisters across this great country that we will continue to raise up Jesus Christ, so that, because we can't do it. I'm not persuasive enough. I do not have the gift of gab to persuade somebody into yielding up their soul. It's not in me. But I can plant the seed. Yep. And if we keep, as Christian brothers and sisters across this country, if we keep raising Jesus Christ up, that's all we have to do. And He will do the work of drawing all men to Him. And so you talk about places to start in this country. As Christians, our start is to try and be the best people that we can. But we start on our knees by humbling ourselves before our God.
Seeking God's face, seeking God's blessings. But the important thing is that we start with the prayer. Start communicating with our Maker. We're going to take off a little bit early tonight, but we will be back again on Thursday, and I have a sneaky feeling we will have some election results.
We'll have some. I mean, there's going to be some runoffs in some of those states that always have runoffs.
We'll at least be able to let you know who cheated.
Yeah.
Or something to that effect.
We're going to tell.
Oh, we're going to tell. You better believe we're going to tell. But either way, look, you guys, we're going to be praying for y'all. You guys be praying for us. Until Thursday, man, just be good to each other. We'll see y'all then.
Good night, y'all.